we discussed yesterday that this Upanishad highlights 6 limbs or 6 components of yoga, which starts with asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. We also discussed very clearly pranayama is not controlling one's own breathing or exercising one's own breathing, but it is managing one's own vital energy. Because the word prana samrodha was being highlighted. Samrodha means samyak rupe, very well you can say control, and very well control means you have to manage, you have to handle it, you have to regulate it. However, the most important aspect, as we have been discussing, that yama and niyama, that 8 limbs of yoga, ashtanga, which has been highlighted all over the world, these 2 are missing. How is it all about it? We have discussed, but just I am giving you some other reference here. One of the text, Shad Chakra Nirupana, means where the 6 chakras, how and what is the role and what is the presiding deity, in details have been discussed in that book. In that book, towards last it comes very nicely. So it's like this. Tunkareneva devim yama niyama samabhyasa shilaha sushilaha gyatva sinat mukrat kramam iticha mahamukshya bhatma prakashakam. The essence of this is said that yama niyama, which is the context for us, that yama niyama samabhyasa shilaha sushilaha, the one who does practice, use the word abhyasa, samyak rupa, not ordinary abhyasa, not ordinary practice. That means there is a consistency, there is a regularity, there is a commitment. The one who is always committed to yama and niyama, because of that, in that reason, he becomes what? Sushila. His behavior gets polished. This beautiful point is being highlighted here. Because the person is committed to yama and niyama, the outcome is sushila. The person has to be polished with his or her behavior. That's called outcome. Because the one who follows yama and niyama cannot be dushila, cannot be dushta, cannot be avaraya. Because each of his action, each of his work or her work will express the understanding. So that's a very beautiful word it uses very nicely. That abhyasa shila, shila means not just abhyasa one thought, but the one who is embodiment, that's why I use the word committed, or the yama and niyama, all these universal values is there with the person. So the reflection of that person is what? Sushila. The one who is very much polished in his or her behavior. So you can use the word polished behavior, and of course there is a consistency. Only that person just by getting the knowledge from the teacher, Tunkareneva means just like that. Just little bit knowledge comes, little bit thing comes from the teacher, and how it is very nicely kramam, because there is a systematic manner. Definitely that person is only going to be a free person, is going to know one's own. This is a beautiful point has been highlighted. That's why I wanted to give the reference how yama and niyama was a part of it. It is not being discussed at all. It's like, for example, to study certain things, minimum qualifications are required. It's like, for example, I want to do PhD in mathematics, but I do not know minimum algebra. That is not to be discussed at all, because without minimum algebra, can I go for PhD? It's impossible. So that is understood. So also yama and niyama, was understood that unless the person is respecting yama and niyama, is following yama and niyama step by step, respecting, following, avoiding, and committed and embodiment of yama and niyama, asana, pranayama, and other things is not going to work in long run. That's why people get fed up with different type of practices. Every day, for them, practice is like anesthesia. First time, when I take anesthesia, maybe one particular amount of cc will be there given. Next time when I take, it has to be increased. The doses has to be increased. So also for people, whether it's asana, pranayama, will be seen dhyana, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, adi. It's just like another type of anesthesia if the person doesn't have yama and niyama in life. So here, very carefully we have to look at the word that before making sure or before practicing any asana, we must try our level best to imbibe the virtues and the qualities that has been discussed in Upanishad or Veda, or we can say the universal values. However, while discussing all these things, now comes to the point, that's where we stopped. So what is asana? What does it say? Because people, they know this is called paperback information. Yoga means they will start looking at Patanjali Yoga Sutra. As for the rule, one is not supposed to look at Patanjali Yoga Sutra for the sake of for the understanding of yoga. The reason is why it's a sutra literature. Being a sutra literature, sutra means aphorism. So being sutra literature or aphorism, it has got a lot of background. It's like if you get a telegraphic message. Okay, telegraphic message is very easy actually to understand. Nowadays this SMS message. Great. G8. Some people write GR8 or G8. If you do not know what is that, you will get confused. So first you need to expose yourself that GR8 is equal to great. Then only you can understand GR8, and the way they write is amazing. Honestly, I don't understand half of it. So each word, like one funny word was there. I forgot that, very beautiful word. Like that, a lot of things are there. What does it mean is, what I am trying to convey here is, unless the person knows the background, cannot understand essence message. So also Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Unless the person has got enough of knowledge of yoga literature, which existed prior to Patanjali. Like another confusion comes, who is father of yoga? Patanjali is father of yoga. Oh, I feel like, removing remove one after another here and die there. Because I don't want to die just like that. Remove one after another. Oh, I'm so angry with so much frustration. Because many people, they think that Patanjali is the father of yoga. If Patanjali is not father of yoga, Patanjali is not the founder of yoga. He was just a contributor. Long before Patanjali, there was yoga. So before or unless the person has got background or has studied yoga properly, or the person has got lot of yoga literature or exposed to lot of yoga literature, only then that person should look at Patanjali Yoga Sutra in order to understand yoga philosophy in essence. So when the word asana comes, people, they think Stiram Sukham Asana. The way they quote. Yoga means Chitabritti Nirodha. What? Then remove all your thoughts. So whole life we try our level best to remove our thought. I remember that's a very beautiful joke. That's what